Today we're looking at compression and the anatomy of sound. We're going to use the Fruity Limiter plugin. Although it's called Fruity Limiter, it also has a compressor section accessed by clicking on this tab. Compression's one of those effects that causes a lot of confusion, so today I thought we'd look at the anatomy of sound and how it relates to common compressor controls. Compression's primarily used for two things. First, for adding thump and presence to percussion and bass. The second is helping vocals to sit on top of a mix so they're not lost under the music. As we've covered those in previous videos, I've put the links in the information and as annotations. Before we consider the compressor controls, let's have a look at the anatomy of the kick drum sound we're going to be working with. I've opened it in Edison. When I preview the kick, you can see the peak envelope is showing in the Fruity compressor. What you can see is the top half of the input waveform. Compression is all about compressing dynamic range. What that means is the range of volume over time. Here at the start you can see the initial sharp attack with the peaks at the maximum 0 dB. Then the smoother sustained body at a lower peak volume. So we have some dynamic range changes between the attack and the body. So let's listen to the attack and the body separately. So there's the simulated mallet hitting the kick drum with the clacky attack. If we select the body, there's the oomph, or the thump. That's what hits you in the chest on a big club PA system. Note the attack sound lasts for about 10 milliseconds. The remaining 170 milliseconds is the bassy thump. So one of the things you may want to do is increase the volume of the body to get more thump out of the kick. The peaks on the body are lower than the peaks on the attack, so the attack has already maxed out the volume at 0 dB, which is as loud as we can go. If I try to normalise or maximise this sound, nothing happens, since the attack has used up all the dynamic range. If we select the sustain only, you can see there's some more room to go, and we can make the thump louder. This is where compression comes in. It will allow us to reduce the difference in volume between the attack and the body, and so make more room to boost the thump. We will lower the attack without affecting the body, and then raise the volume of the whole sound. Enough mucking about in Edison, let's put some kicks in the step sequencer. On the display, there's the sharp attack peak we want to flatten. We turn down the threshold to include mainly the attack, then increase the compression ratio and really slam it down. Compression ratio, as you can see in the hint bar, is in the form of two numbers. So how many units input you need, the first number, to get 1 unit output, which is the second number. So at 6:1, you need 6 dB increase to get 1 dB out. But that's really something that should be set by ear. Okay, let's slam it down to 20:1. Now the compression envelope is active. To make things really obvious, I'm going to turn the compression threshold way down and increase the overall gain to make up for it. In other words, use make-up gain. I have the attack on the compressor set to 0 milliseconds. The attack is a delay after crossing the threshold before the reduction kicks in. Compare 0 milliseconds to 10 milliseconds. About the length of the attack we saw in Edison. So the attack is an important control, particularly with percussion, for changing the crispness of the sound. Of course, if your sound has a slow attack, then changing the attack knob won't seem to have any effect. Nor will any of the controls have an effect if nothing or only a little part of the input sound crosses the threshold. So with that, I hope you have a new way of looking at sounds and how their parts are affected by compression. Until next time, enjoy the anatomy of sounds.